Dakpo says, Undertale is the greatest game of
that
all
was pretty much everything.
That is an opinion.
Undertale's back. How did he read all that?
Yeah, greatest game of all time, that is an opinion.
And if it was released as a flagship title on launch, it would be
I'm not reading the rest
staple.
of it.
It really...
Wait.
Sorry, I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm still not used to the jump scare. Let me read what the whole thing said. Undertale is the greatest game of all time. It was amazing in 2015, and if it was released as a flagship title when the Super Nintendo launched, it would be like a staple like Mario and Sonic are today.
I mean, I could see it.
That bottom half is
Earthbound,
true.
Yeah.
I feel like that would actually be true, but
I don't know about Mario and Sonic though. Maybe like Earthbound or like other RPGs.
yeah, it would be like a golden child like Earthbound.
Yeah, but Mario and Sonic seems a little different.
Honestly, this is Undertale. It's just modernized Earthbound. That would technically, because Nintendo exists, Earthbound will probably still win. But
Yeah, maybe.
it would still be a beloved gem. That's even like assuming the SNES can handle it. Like the
Yeah, I don't know, because there are some things you feel like they wouldn't be able to recreate on that console. Yeah.
yeah, it's sprite oriented, but there's a lot of like intertwining mechanics that would make that difficult to handle. Like all the interactions and all this other stuff. Like I get it, then again, it's not a very heavy game either. Oh yeah, no, me players right. Undertale did do a lot of. It did a lot right. Undertale was a very, very good game. I'm a big Undertale fan. Oh no, understandably so. I wasn't super big on it, but like, yeah, no. He said first sentence is different now though, but the rest, yeah.
Yeah, like it's great, but no.
Yeah, it's great, but this is an opinion. This is a cap opinion.
Yeah. And whenever you say the greatest, that's always an opinion.
Yeah, anyone that says goated or greatest of all time, like that's no.
Dakpo says, Undertale is the greatest game of all time. That is an opinion. I'm not reading the rest of it. That's a big stinky opinion.
Thank you, Tony.
Dakpo says it was amazing in 2015, and if it was released as a flagship title when the Super Nintendo launched, it would be a staple like Mario and Sonic are today. It's timeless. I feel like you can't make that argument because you have to be video game literate to enjoy Undertale that much.
Oh yeah,
you know
absolutely.
What I mean?
The
point of Undertale is that you expect...
Undertale was made by... I will not deny that Undertale was made by very talented game developers. You also have a lot of really cool like fan art as well. Like I love a community makes it when there's like talented artists like drawing stuff for it all the time. It's like even if you're not like a big bang, like you still have notoriety if people are drawing fan art of your series. So it is the best niche game. Because like you said, like you have to be somewhat like video game literate. Because if you're just like pressing buttons, you're not gonna get like the full experience. Because if you're treating it like it's your first RPG, then it's not gonna hit as different as it would be if you've been playing RPGs and then you play Undertale and see how different it is. If that makes any sense. Oh yeah, no, the talented people in the community, it makes many people who make fan games get an actual job. Yeah, no, I'm a huge fan of that as well. Sega did that with Mania.
Yeah.
And I thought that was pretty cool. They hired super talented fan artists and people who made like fan games for them under like their engine, and they've worked with Sega for a while. And Tyson Hess, the guy who did Sonic's Adventure, like that really like weird, gross Sonic animation, like he did the intro for Mania. Yeah, no, like that community, that community flourishes. Like niche communities that just have a lot of creative like outlets is wonderful. Yeah, no, a lot of companies underestimate like how important like fan talking like conversations are to keeping a series alive. Danganronpa wouldn't be nearly as relevant. It would not have made a third entry if fans weren't talking about it. If fans weren't drawing fan arts, it would not have made it to its third entry. Like, Sonic wouldn't be nearly as alive if the fans weren't so prevalent. Like, Mario is arguably, like, popular enough to justify not having a fan conversation, because everybody knows Mario, but, like, despite being the vocal minority, like, communities like Sonic and Undertale are, like, actually pretty niche. Like most normal like individuals don't know Sonic past the Genesis, and it's like Undertale would be timeless in its niche community, like 100%. Just like Sonic is in his community and a bunch of other like RPGs and stuff.
Expect one thing, and then the game does something else, and there's a certain amount of literacy that you come into the game with. And you expect things to happen, and then they don't, and that's what makes the game so exciting. If Undertale is the first game you've ever played, it's not. You're like, what the? I think.
To be fair, if your first game was Undertale, A, how, and then B, like,
why?
You were the exception upon the rule. Because like, Undertale was a PC game, and everyone plays video games on their console first. So, like, unless you're, like, on the Switch, and then, like, you, instead of getting Mario Odyssey, like, the obvious first video game choice, you start off with Undertale, it's like, huh. It's like, that is, like, the most unfortunate toll, because, like, unless you have, like, an idea of how video games work, especially RPGs, like, a lot of the twists and turns aren't gonna hit as hard. So, like, that 1 in a billion person that, like, had Undertale be their first game, through all the loopholes and stuff they had to jump through to get to it, is gonna have a bad time. Without Glitch Tale, X-Tale, all the Undertale Souls games, etc., the game would beat it. Oh yeah, absolutely. Like, games, especially niche ones, are kept alive by their fans.
I think a lot of what Undertale does, a lot of the experience, is hinged upon your understanding of how video games work as a medium. From our good friend, Bomb Arrow, who says Tony is a good content creator, and everyone watching should subscribe.
Boo, opinion.
It seems the answer.
Okay, cater to.
If you're watching this,
Fact
you should
and
not
super
only sub to the
fact.
Twitch, but go ahead and go over to the YouTube and sub to that too. It's free. Keith says,
I'm already subbed, don't
there's
worry.
no such thing as rose-tinted glasses for gaming. If you liked a video game as a child, you will probably enjoy playing it now as an adult, and that is likely because the game is good.
That is
every game.
Yeah, that is an opinion. Now, you can like a game that you played before in the past, but it's not as good as you remember it being. Like, I love Sonic Heroes, but it is not this flawless masterpiece I thought it was as a kid.
Especially with like graphics and stuff like that, can really throw you off too. Like, oh, it looked fine back then, but now.
No, like, playing Mario Galaxy after playing Mario Odyssey before, like, I got used to the visuals, it looked like a pixelated mess. And I was like, wow, this looks
Wait, this is what it
weird.
looked like?
But then I got used to it and the game was fine again. But, like, I think it's because I beat Odyssey and I was like, you know what, I haven't finished Galaxy 2. I want to get all the green stars, so I went ahead and went back to it after, like, a couple years, and I was like, ooh. Wow. But other than that, like, the game is still as fun as I remember it, and it's still a genuinely good game. But that Galaxy is kind of a bad example, because Galaxy is, like, unironically perfect. But going back to games like Super Mario Bros. Or like Sonic 3 and Knuckles, and like, they're good games, but they're not as good as you remember them being. I will say that is an opinion. Rose-tinted glasses are a thing, but if you liked the game back then, you're probably gonna like the game again now. One of my first games was a Thomas the Tank Engine learning game. Hey man, we all gotta start somewhere. Technically, if we're getting technical about it, my first game was Jumpstart 3rd grade or 4th grade, whichever one had the dog. Jumpstart? It was 1st grade. I'm giving myself way too much credit. It was Jumpstart 1st grade, and it was the dog that did like the double finger like pointing thing. He would go from left to right and do that, and that dance would be like my signature dance for like a month. And
Oregon Trail.
After Oregon, oh my god, I feel bad if your first game was Oregon Trail, dude.
I mean, we had the old, DOS computer, so yeah.
That is true. That was a popular game to get on the computer.
Cosmos Cosmic Adventure. What was that 3D?
The other game that I played a lot of was
Android.
like the Winnie the Pooh learning game. And then I beat it, and then I was like, well, frick, now what do I do? I didn't know you could beat learning games. Because, like, your whole thing was fulfilling all the requirements to build a house party for Christopher Robin. And so you know, you go to all your characters' houses, you do stuff for them, you know, put squares in a square hole, stuff like that. And then you have your big party, and then you log back into the game, and everything's already done. I was like, wait, what? But I wanted to keep playing. There was a bunch of other like free games on the computer too that I played. The one I remember was like a bowling game. It wasn't like the pre-installed computer bowling game, but I remember. Gosh, all these core memories are coming up, and I can't like describe a single one of them. Dude, the PC is such a wild place to find video games, dude. Like,
yeah.
Aside from popular ones, like, no one has played the same game. Like, you can't find someone that's played the same game as you have because of how, like, much there is on there, both good and bad. Good freaking grief. But yeah, no, like, if you liked the game back then, you're gonna like a game now.
Now, is this a factor opinion? Guys, I think we know.
Yeah.
Right? I think we know. Right? That's silly. There are plenty of games that people like when they're kids that they play later and they're like, this sucks. One of my favorite games for the Super Nintendo was Chester Cheetah's Too Cool to Fool. You played as Chester Cheetah, and I don't remember what you were doing. Probably trying to eat Cheetos? I don't know. It was very bad, but I loved it.
A lot of NES games were bad. Like, they were...
Again, like Fallout.
Not even because, ooh, the clunky, but, like, a lot of NES games were just bad. Like, video games were really trying to figure out what they wanted to be. Like, Nintendo just kind of knew what they wanted, and just kind of ran with it, whereas everyone else was trying to figure out what they wanted to do with their characters. Especially brand games.
For sure, yeah. They kind of made a game around it, and then, yeah, they didn't always care.
And it would usually be like platformers, and most of them would be kind of bad. But like, you'd be hard pressed to find a good NES game that isn't just the Mario Bros. Duck Hunt collection. And depending on your TV, not even Duck Hunt, because modern TVs I don't think can do that.
Original Legend of Zelda.
The original Zelda, Zelda 2, I think was Super NES, so that's whatever. But Mario, Zelda, Metroid. I don't think Kid Icarus was good.
Yeah, it was definitely not as good as it could have been.
Yeah. And not even like comparing it to Uprising, like I don't think any of the Kid Icarus games for the NES were that good, if they were good at all. But like,
Gaiden, Contra, I guess.
Oh yeah, I heard 2D Ninja Gaiden was brutal. I remember.
Yeah.
Like I don't remember if it was brutal because it was a bad game or if it was brutal because it was genuinely designed to be hard.
It had some things that made it. It had some Castlevania-isms, like, oh, you got hit and you got knocked backwards into a pit. Like, cool.
Oh, that's garbage.
Yeah, it's like one of those things that they had to do on NES platformers.
Someone in the corner chat says Sonic Heroes. I was like, no, Sonic Heroes is not a bad game. It could be janky, but it is not a bad game. That I will be that game's biggest defender if I have to
be. Yeah.
Heroes and Hedgehog, but Hedgehog would crash from time. Shadow the Hedgehog would crash from time to time. So
yeah,
that's kind of. Yeah, the game is fun, but again, janky. Like I know a game is like not as polished as I remember it being, but that does not mean it is still a bad game. One game that was good no matter what. Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door. That is, you want to talk about a timeless game? That is a timeless game. Alright, but...
Fallout 1 and 2, but...
what about you? Do you have any games that you look back at fondly? With
that aren't
glasses
as
or whatever?
Good? Or just like ones that are still good, no matter what?
What is?
Are you saying like ones that aren't as good as they used to be? Or like ones that are still good?
Either or.
There's a couple like Gex, for example, that I loved as a kid, but like it's kind of weird and janky control-wise now, and the graphics don't all hold up on, at least on PlayStation. For sure they don't, but N64 version is probably a little bit better.
Okay. Pokemon Black and White is definitely still good. Oh my gosh, that's right. Pokemon Black and White is old to be looked back upon.
I mean, it's the best sprite Pokemon game because it has sprites that animate.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And but I don't enjoy Smash 4. Smash 4 is the best looking Smash game, but it is not the best Smash game by any means. Like if you look at the character models from Smash 4 and compare them to Smash Ultimate, they are a downgrade. And that is my hot take.
Kind of weird for that game compared to even Brawl.
Yeah. But Double Dash is also really good. But you were saying Gex was one of your games?
Yeah, like it's kind of, I almost has like tank controls sometimes, so you're running and you have to kind of turn left to right instead of like, like free movement, So you can definitely make it better.
Okay.
But the game itself is cool though, because it's like, oh, you're after more Gecko going through TV levels based on
and he says
things
funny,
like,
offensive jokes.
yeah, which haven't aged well either.
I mean, jokes are jokes, man. Dude, like, there
A
was
lot
a
of
Tom and
people
Jerry episode. You want to talk about a joke that didn't age well? There was a Tom and Jerry episode that I've discovered recently where, like, Jerry was trying to avoid Tom, as always, and he came across, like, dark makeup. So, like, he covered his face except for, like, the bright part of his maw, and, like, put on, like, a polka dotted, like, bandana and, like, a small, like, little dress. I was like, Jerry unironically blackface to avoid Tom, and I thought that was very funny. That would not have flew nowadays, but back then when like it was kind of like on the wall, like that was probably peak fiction for them.
I think that's actually funny about that is he didn't really need to put that on. He's already brown.
Yeah, that was specifically just for the blackface joke, and it's like, wow, I didn't know they went like they went like that.
Yeah,
I can see why that episode didn't air on Boomerang, but like, agree.
Yeah.
But yeah, Gex was yours. Was there a game that you played back then that you could enjoy, that you still enjoy now?
Ocarina of Time. Majora's Mask.
That's fair, yeah. Like, the jank was there, but it's still a good game underneath.
Yeah, even if I probably prefer Majora's over Ocarina though.
Oh yeah, everyone did. Like, Ocarina was like the start, and then Majora's Mask like evolved on it.
Yeah, back then for sure people didn't though. They were like, oh, it's this weird not Ocarina of Time game.
Yeah.
But looking back on it, I think people like it more.
No, yeah, 100%. Super Mario was Wii. Four Swords. Oh, you hated Wii? I liked Wii.
I think he hates the online for sure. I mentioned that before.
I didn't notice anything bad with Wii's online, but then again, it was before I had like a stable internet connection. I would literally borrow my neighbor's Wi-Fi, like without realizing I was borrowing my neighbor's Wi-Fi. I just saw a like 2-bar connection. I was like, ooh, I'll try that.
Yeah, I don't know if it's so much the connection as much as like it's the way people play online. Is that what it was, me player?
I think it was both.
That I sucked. That might be what it is.
It do be like that sometimes.
But yeah, I mean, there's plenty of games that hold up still, that other ones that don't. So it's kind of hit or miss.
I don't think I had a game that was like that. I think I just have good taste.
Well, I mean, like there are games out there that people like that like just didn't age very well.
Yeah, I'm just saying I never really had that like, oh man, this game did not age well. Like it's so clunky and stuff. I was like, no, like every game I played, I liked. Like Over the Hedge, I liked, and I could probably go back and still play it and probably say it's like mid or whatever, but it's like fun. Like, but then again, I started from GameCube onward, so that was before like. I don't have, like, my cutoff was the GameCube, so that's when games started being consistently good, but I was on Mario and Sonic Andy when I was a kid, so, like, you know, I was, like, I take that as you will, I guess.
Like, and those are objectively good games. Can you play them now? Not really as much.
Oh, Yellow is also a poorly aged game, but, you know.
I don't think
But that's mostly because of all the stuff we have access to now.
Oh, here we go.